Hello everyone, my name is Stanley St. Bros, and today we're going to be talking about Puppy, written by George Saunders. Now, before we go into the summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, in this work by Saunders, we're looking at two mothers. We're looking at a mother by the name of Marie and a mother by the name of Callie. Now, these individuals, they've had two different upbringings. Marie had a tough childhood. Her parents said that she wasn't college material. They didn't really take care of her that well. I mean, one of the scenarios, one of the examples that we see of Callie in her childhood is that after a dance, she gets left on the curb and it's cold outside and her parents forget to pick her up. And that one, that scenario or that example really touched home because if you've ever been the last to be picked up by your parents at school and your teacher's right there holding your hand and your parents come up the last individual there, it kind of feels like you're the kid that nobody cares about and your parents just forgot about you, which isn't, it's not funny. It's a tough situation, and when most kids experience that, it's a bad feeling to have. And Marie remembers that in her life. She just remembers her parents just not being good parents. And so when she grows up, she marries a man that has good money because the way that her husband is described is as if his pockets are filled. He has enough finances to buy his kids toys and pets, and he has enough to pretty much make them happy. And Marie, she really, lets her kids have whatever they want. We learned that one of her son has a behavioral disorder, and she's doing her best to take care of him and all of her family. It seems like her family is really happy. She's trying her best to give her kids a better life than what her parents gave to her. So that's Marie's life. And then Callie, on the other hand, Callie is just not doing so well. Her family pretty much lives in poverty. They have a bunch of, they have dogs, they have puppies. They put this puppy out for sale, and the family is just trying to survive. They're not even making ends meet. Life is just not good for them. And she also, just like Marie has a son that has a behavioral problem, and she basically chains him up. And her thought process is that if I can keep him alive throughout his childhood, he'll grow up and he'll be normal and he'll have a life of his own. So both of these mothers, they're not horrible people. They're not bad mothers. It's just that they've been given, lots in life, lives that are not simple. They're complicated lives, and that's one thing that's really difficult about having kids is that you're gonna love your kids no matter what, but you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you have a child that's born perfectly healthy, and other times you have a child that is born with differences or is born with challenges. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their own story to write. Everybody has their own life to go through, and everybody has a beautiful story to themselves. But as a parent, it's difficult because if you give birth to a child that has a mental disability or a physical disability, you have to learn how to best raise that child and what's best for that child. And that's not easy. Raising a kid anywhere is not easy, no matter what the kid is or no matter what challenges the kid might have. It's not easy raising a kid. And basically, Marie judges Callie, and she judges her because they do meet within this short story because Callie puts this puppy up for sale, and Marie wanted to go buy it, but when she sees when Marie sees how Callie is treating her son, she literally almost, pretty much threatens to call child services, and she judges Callie as a bad parent. But what's significant about this is that we get to see both of their point of views, and this is what's fascinating about the short story is that as human beings, we always love to judge people, but we never look at things in their point of view. That old cliche of walking in an individual's shoes. could be applied to this short story, because Callie and Mary, they're very quite similar. Their lives are pretty much the same thing. It's just that one is more fortunate than the other. Callie's just doing the best she can to take care of her kids. And Marie is, she has the money and the finances to give her kids whatever they want. And she just judges Callie, but she's not seeing that, Callie doesn't have that much money. So she's doing the best she can to take care of her family. And the only reason why she chained her child to the street is because if she doesn't, he's going to die. And, child services would probably take the boy away. But at the same time, in her mind, that's the only thing that she could do to take care of her child. And in a world that can be rough and tough and difficult, if the only thing you can do to keep your child alive is to chain him to a tree, I mean, some parents would do that because it's better that, the child is alive than it's not, So Marie judges Callie, and Callie wanted to sell this dog. She doesn't sell the dog. She even offers Marie the dog for free, but Marie doesn't want Callie's dog because she's judging her, and she sees her as, a bad person because of how her house is. Marie judges Callie's house. She sees her as white trash. She sees her as, at the bottom of the barrel. They're both white. They're both individuals who are similar. They're both white, but the gap between them is the finances and their backgrounds. Because Marie, her drive in the world, the reason why she treats her family and her kids so well is because her parents were bad and mean and horrible to her. So in the end, they're both trying to take care of their families and their kids the best as they can. But again, the finances are different, and the approaches are different. And both of them, they've reasoned and they've agreed in their minds that what they're doing is somewhat right and they're on the right path. And honestly, that's how all human beings are. We always think that we are doing what's right or we are in the right path. Now, I'm not saying that their different paths are not right. It's just that all humans have different perspectives on how to see things. And just because one person's approach to something is different than your approach, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily wrong. Because I don't see Callie as a bad person. I don't see Marie as a bad person. But the problem is here is that I don't think they should that Marie should judge Callie, because if we could have seen Marie's parents' mindsets and their thought processes, maybe we could see why they might have treated Marie badly. The story, an argument, a person's perspective is never 100% of the truth, because an event can be seen in certain aspects of life or just life in general. Can be seen through different eyes, through different perspectives, and everyone draws different conclusions from one thing. So, interesting story. I think it teaches us to kind of look at our lives and look at our snap judgments, and not to judge other people and how they live their lives, because sometimes they might not have the finances or they might not be in the circumstance to do the things that you see as right. In terms of analysis, in terms of deeper meaning, Saunders with this, because right now I'm reading 10th of December. This is where I'm getting the George Saunders short stories from. 10th of December just has a collection of his works. And these works, they teach you how to write. They teach you how to express emotions and feelings and developing characters. Because what's really amazing about George Saunders, he pretty much creates this whole world and this whole controversy and dynamic between characters just within a few pages. That's very impressive. But the thing is, with this work, he creates a world here, and he is expressing. We see the conflict, we see what's going on between these two families, but at the same time, we get a view of reality and how we can have snap judgments, how we can judge people, and how our backgrounds often shape our futures. Because again, Marie's motivation to be nice and to treat her kids well is all from her childhood. And they both have aspirations of great things in the future for their kids and themselves. It's just that they're starting at different places and they have different approaches. So, from my perspective, I would say one thing to take from this analysis, one thing to take away from this short story is that, you know, don't judge people unless you know their whole story. Don't believe that your way is the right way. It might work for you, but it might not work for others. That doesn't mean you're wrong, and that doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just we are all human beings. We all have different approaches to things, and we all have different perspectives, and we're all coming from different backgrounds. So it pays a lot to just try to understand other people and what they're going through in their lives, what their lives are, because most of the time we judge people without knowing the whole story. But yeah, that's all I had to say about this work by George Saunders. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in my next video.